Hi everyone, welcome to my shop. My Phoenix Waco just arrived and I got it from the door, brought it down to the basement, sat it on the table here, getting ready to open it up, and I thought, this would be a good time to do an unboxing video on this plane. So let me take it out of the box and then I'm going to go through it a little bit and point out my likes and dislikes, and we'll take a look at all the parts and pieces and see exactly how nice of a job they did. And maybe after that, who knows, we'll get into a little more detail on things. So hold on a second, let me get this out of the box and we'll get on with it. As usual, the packing on the Phoenix modeled kits are pretty good. So let me pick this up a little bit and take a look inside and see. And there we go. I'll try to get this up there without dumping it out. And everything's taped down, so I'm gonna have to pull some tape and see where this takes me. Okay, on top, decal sheet. Looks pretty good, no wrinkles in it. And over here we have the stabilizers. And there's a lot of tape on here. Get out my handy dandy knife and take care of this real quick. Okay, there's the rudder, good size rudder. Very nicely done. I don't see any wrinkles or anything like that. No damage. Very good. Nice and light, by the way. And next it's going to be the horizontal stabilizer. And there it is, pre-hinged. It looks pretty good. I don't see any problems here at all. Nice. Horizontal stabilizer and elevators. Okay, next will be, I'm not really sure which, this is going to be the port upper wing. Nicely packaged. Again, everything's in bubble wrap. Not bad, not bad. I'm liking it. There's a little bit of beef to this wing. I'm kind of impressed with that. A little bit of weight to it, that's good. Okay, find a place to set that. And next we have all the push rods, some outer tubing and some wire rods. Okay, the Waco Bible. You have the instruction manual here. It's a nice, wrapped up in plastic here. Look at that in a little while. And now we have to get a knife. This is the center of the upper wing. That's the center section. Got something rattling around in there. Not sure what it is. I'm suspecting a blind nut or something come loose, and the only place I could go is either here or over here. There's two little holes and two up front, so it's in one of these spots, one of those four spots that it goes. Who knows? So there's a little flaw there. Blind nut didn't stay on. Not a big deal. It appears that I can get up in here with my fingers and push it back in, except for this front one. If it's this front one, it's going to be a problem. We'll see. Okay. Aluminum tubing for wing joining. There's 4 in here, 2 shorts, 2 longs. And we got 2 more pretty long ones. Nice and straight, no damage on them. Wrapped in plastic, styrofoam on the ends, keep them from falling out. Taped up real good. Okay, this would be the starboard upper wing. Like the other ones, nicely done. No damage. Good covering job. Don't see any flaws with that. And a piece of loose cardboard. This is the port lower wing. Looks pretty good. Hatch cover right here. I don't know if that was supposed to be on over the hole, but it's not. It's taped off to the side, so no biggie. A couple of fake landing lights in there. That'd be really cool if I could get inside there and make those work, but worry about that later. Okay, starboard lower wing. Looks pretty good. Hatch covers in place. Okay. Next, a little separator cardboard here. Get rid of that. We got this humongous fuselage here with a whole boatload of tape on it. See if I can get it up out of here. Okay, there's the fuselage. Let's see if I can get it in the frame. This is pretty big. A lot bigger than I kind of imagined it to be. This styrofoam wasn't tore up. When I pulled the tape off, it ripped the styrofoam up. But yeah, it's stuck down pretty good with a lot of tape and a lot of bubble wrap. Very nice, huge fuselage. Looks good. Feels strong. Compared to my P40, I would say this is a better construction just by the feel of it. It feels stronger, definitely heavier. All right, put this back inside for now. There's other things in here. Oh, I'm gonna have to get a knife for that. Everything is either taped or glued down, so bear with me. In this box is the fairings for the wheel pants. Wheel pants themselves. And these are landing gear covers. Try to get them out. They really got them lashed down pretty good. They ain't going nowhere. Okay, landing gear covers. They will slide into these covers here. Okay, put those off to the side. Wheel pants back in here. What do we got here? Not sure what this part is. Okay. Another cover to something. I'm not really sure. Looks like some kind of a strut covering. Huh. Interesting. Okay. And over in this box over here, we have the windshields. Pretty decent. And there's some kind of, looks like plastic trim tape to go around those. Now, let's see what's in this box. This box is heavily taped down, possibly glued. So we'll just cut the tape and see what's inside. Okay, this is landing gear hardware. There's a tail wheel. Looks pretty good. A little beefy. Excuse me. plastic yoke, pretty decent spring loading. The main gear, I would say that is some pretty tough stuff. Not bad, nicely painted. Then we have the strut package, the main struts and the outer wing struts, and the hardware that goes with it. And this big box here probably holds everything else, if I can get it off. Oh, we got something. This looks like the fake radial engine. Yeah, there's the fake engine. All right. I don't know if this box is supposed to come out or not. It is stuck. One more. I got tape stuck all over me. This looks like the cowl. Okay. In here we have the cowl. And it is packed with a bunch of goodies. All kinds of stuff. It's like all the rest of the hardware, some plywood stuff. Looks like their balancing tool. Engine mounting hardware. A couple of plastic scoops. And a black spinner. Some Velcro. A couple of pilots that have yellow faces. Probably end up repainting them. This is probably the throttle servo mounting bracket. Have a fuel tank, pretty decent one. Not really sure with the size. And what do we have here? We have a couple of wheels and a whole bunch of plastic parts. I really don't know what they go to. Some axles and other paraphernalia. Well, that's it. That's what's in the box. What I'm going to do is move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to unwrap the fuselage and bring the fuselage out, and we'll take a look at that, and we'll go from there. Okay, here it is, out of the bubble wrap. You can see right off the bat, the cockpit combing is already installed for you. When I took it out of the packaging though, I heard some rattling around inside, and what I found was two of the wing mounting screws on the inside were rattling around. I just put them back in where they belong, and that's that. No big deal. I did weigh the fuselage by itself. I got out my postal scale and weighed it. It came out to 4 pounds, 10.6 ounces. Just wanted to know. No other reason than that. So what I want to do is move the camera over here, take a look inside the cockpit, show you some of the minor detailing they did, and we'll go from there, and then we'll look probably inside. So, 1 second. Well, that's the best I can do on a shot of the cockpit, but you can see the instrument panel is all decorated up with decals of instruments. The side panels, which you can't see, I'll bring the camera around and you can see the side panels. They got little knobs and stuff that are painted on, and just your general simple cockpit detailing. And there's a shot of the side. This would be the front starboard side of the cockpit. I'll show you the rear cockpit on the same side. There you go, that's the rear cockpit on the starboard side. This is the front cockpit port side. And the rear cockpit port side. There's just a couple more things to show you on the fuselage, and that's the hatches. This top hatch, a couple of latches right there on the top, one on both sides. You can see that pretty well. metal pegs that come through into the plywood back here. And in the front, nothing really special about that. It's just a couple of plywood hooks glued in on the bottom of this framework. And inside, everything is pretty much laminated with carbon fiber. So that makes it pretty strong. Hope you can see inside of there okay. Not much else to tell you about that. Servo trays are back here. Tank will probably go up in here. Radio, as far as receiver and whatever on this platform. Not much else to talk about as far as that goes. You can probably see all the lightning holes in here. That's a pet peeve of mine, is if you have too many lightning holes and you make the plane too light, then it doesn't fly that well in the wind. You'll get a lot of wobbling and a light breeze, and I don't go for that. But in the P40 it was pretty squishy, but in here these are pretty solid. I don't think I need to do much beefing up in here like I did on my P40. And I always refer back to the P40 because that's the only other Phoenix model I've ever put together besides Sonic for my son. That was a long time ago, but anyway. Let's see. On the sides here in the front, you probably can't see that, but I'll zoom in on this in a minute and show you the strut mounts up in front and the wing hold downs inside where the screws are. Have your push rod. The outer rods are already in place in the back. And that's about all there is for that. Let me bring the camera in, show you what I'm talking about, and we'll move on to a different hatch. Now you can see all the lightning holes I'm talking about, just a gazillion of them. But it is pretty strong inside. And let me come down to the sides and I can show you where the struts mount and the wing mounts. The struts mount here and the other screws over there. And it's the same on the other side, so I'm not going to bother to show you that. And down inside, right down here, is where the wings slide in, and you screw down those two Allen cap screws there and tighten it down. And going to the back, and you can see the rods for the push rods, the outer rods. Just one more hatch to show you, and that's underneath the fuselage for the tail wheel access. Flip it over here and see if I can do this without denting the fuselage. Another spring-loaded hatch latch. You'll need to cut a little bit of covering material out right down here to clear it for the tail wheel assembly. Right here is a tail wheel block. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a tail wheel block. Little carbon fiber here. The control rod guides are up inside here where you can't see them. So I'm not going to do a close-up on that because that's pretty basic stuff. Put the hatch back on here. All right, let's move on to, let's see what's on the pile here. The rudder and stab. We have the rudder and the horizontal stabilizer here with the elevators attached. The rudder, I weighed it. Since I weighed the fuselage, I figured I'd weigh each part and kind of add it up at the end and see how much it really weighs. Rudder, 4.4 ounces. Now that's a good size rudder. The pin hinges are there. Got to glue those in, of course. I was messing with the hinges and I found that this hinge right here was so stiff I could hardly move it, so I had to do a little surgery on it. Opened up the holes a little bit with the drill and kind of did a little knife scraping on some flashing and loosened it up pretty good. That's all there is for the rudder. Horizontal stabilizer and elevators. Again, pin hinges, there's a total of 6. Framework, built up framework for the construction. Not much framework in this elevator, but it's pretty stout. Or in the horizontal stabilizer, but it's pretty stout. Same with the elevators. I weighed this also as an assembly, and this was 9.5 ounces. Okay, so we have fuselage at 4 pound, 10.6 ounces. Rudder 4.4. Horizontal stabilizer at 9.5 ounces. So that's all there is to say about that. Let me move on to the wings. Here I have the center section of the wing. Really sturdy, nicely done. Remember the rattling in the center section when I pulled it out of the box, and there was a rattle? What it was this little screw right here with a washer, and it's the same screws that go right here into the strut mounts. So I'm glad it wasn't a blind nut. It was just a random screw that they left in there somehow. I'm not sure if it actually goes to the kit or if it's something they made a mistake and they dropped it inside when they were putting in the blind nuts or whatever. But there's a section, the center section. It weighs 1 pound, 2.4 ounces. Not real heavy, but very, very strong. I mean, I can't twist it, so that's pretty good. Okay, onto the wings. This is the lower port wing. The 2 strut mounting holes. Your little light. It's so tempting to tear into that and put a real light in it. Anyway, here's the cover where it was when I got it. I believe it just kind of fell off. Tape come loose. Goes like that. There is no strings inside here to pull your servo extensions through. A lot of models, even on the Phoenix P40, has a taped in piece of string where you tie it to your cord and you can run it through, but this doesn't have that. But it is pretty wide open that you can probably shake it through pretty easily. Or if you have a steel rod and a hook, just slide it up in there, pull it out. Let's see. That's, I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like a locking bar. You slide your wing in. The 2 screws inside the fuselage I showed you at the bottom locks down on these. Keeps the wings from sliding out. And there's 2 tubes that go in here. I'm not sure which tubes they are. We'll worry about that when I put it together. Hinges on this is fairly loose. Not bad. They're not floppy loose, but pretty loose. And the weight on these wings, let's see, I have them all wrote down over here. Lower port wing is 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. Not too bad. Very strong. Pretty happy with it. Okay, 3 more wings to go. This is the upper port wing. There's the 2 holes for the struts. Same configuration basically as the lower wing. Same type of hold down that goes up into the upper center section, and there's a screw hole for that too. This wing weighs 1 I looked at it a second ago. 1 pound, excuse me, 1 pound, 1.2 ounces. A little difference in the weight. The different weights in the wing, I always weigh them anyways, is for the lateral balance. I'm going to know approximately how much I'm going to be off when it's finished. The hinging's good. Pretty floppy, just like the other one, not much difference. Okay, on to the next one. This is the lower starboard wing. See the mounting screw holes here, same configuration as the other side. Not much difference, except for this one, the hatch is in place. Ailerons feel pretty floppy. Oh, the covering looks really good. I don't see any flaws. Quite pleased with it so far. This one weighs, let's see, starboard Low wing, let's see, 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. A little heavier than the other one. No, actually it's the same as the starboard lower wing, so that's pretty good. Because it's going to make it easier when it comes to the lateral balance. Okay, on to the next one. Last but not least, the upper starboard wing. Same configuration as the port, but on the other side, no big deal. Mounting holes for the struts. Aileron is nice and loose. Nothing rattling around in the wings, at least. This one weighs, actually this one's different than the other ones. This is 1 pound, 2.4 ounces. So it's 0.3 ounces difference between the port and the starboard wing. Not a big deal. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference in the long run, but it's nice to know. The first package I opened up was the strut bag. These are the 2 wing struts. They came folded up like this. And there's 8 of these angle brackets. They mount to the wing, and they are attached to the struts, or the struts attached to those with these little pins here. And you have, well, I guess you call these pegs and these pins, and they slide through and they lock like that. But there's 8 of these pegs and 8 pins, 20 of these black screws here, and these I would imagine hold the angle brackets to the wing. And there's 20 of those. 4 wood screws, little tiny wood screws, have no idea what they're for. Like I said, I didn't look at the manual to find out any of this stuff. You have 2 of these rods with ball links on both ends, plastic casing on it. I believe it's probably a steel rod in between with threaded ends. The main struts, they came folded like that. It's just the way it is. And what I did is I took out all the parts out of the bag and I weighed them all at once, so this whole arrangement weighs 1 pound, 12.1 ounces. I write these little cheat notes on my glass table. You can't see them, but I can. Okay, on to the next one. Let's start to your left, which would be the cowl first. To grade the cowl, I'm going to use like between A and F. A being best, F a total failure. I'd have to rate this a C. And let me tell you why. Inside there's 1 layer of glass that's not stuck down to the other layers. Not a good thing. But it's overall, it's strong. I don't think it's going to make a difference in the long run. It's just a place where oil will probably get trapped, eventually start eating away at the layers. And another reason I gave it a C is because I counted them up, and there are 17 paint runs in this. Around the blisters, in between the blisters, around this edge. Not the best paint job in the world. Somebody got in a hurry and they just kind of tried to put too many coats of paint on all at once, and result is you get paint runs. But there it is. That's the cowl. Then we have the landing gear covers. These are the landing gear strut covers. They are wood. They have carbon fiber that back up the wood. Exactly how they mount on, I don't know. I haven't read that yet. And yeah, kind of nice. Covering's good. Let me take this off and you can see what it looks like on the landing gear. They don't weigh much at all. I did weigh these. I probably won't weigh too many more of these things. Probably what's on this table, and the rest of the stuff I probably won't weigh. Okay, the cowling. Let's go back to the cowling. That weighs 11.5 ounces. Strut covers, 1.7 ounces. Pretty light. These are the cowling mounts. The screw onto the firewall. There's 2 screws that go inside of here, and they mount outwardly. Screws coming through here from the outside of the cowl. And I kind of like these. On my first P40, it had wood blocks inside for mounting the cowl. And the screws always seemed to back out. They'd vibrate out. And the second one I got had the plastic mounts. Once you screwed those in, they stayed tight. They didn't try to back out. And so I tend to like these a little better. And there's 6 of those. I think there's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 12 wood screws that hold these to the firewall. Fiberglass plate that mounts onto your firewall, just backs up the engine standoffs. And you have wood templates here. One for an OS 60cc and a DLE 61cc. And this only weighs like a ½ ounce. These 2 small push rods here, I believe they are maybe for choke and throttle. I'm not positive, but I think that's what they are. And they're only like 0.2 ounces. Really super light. Landing gear, aluminum. They have some imperfections for sure. Looks like when they were grinding them out, the grinder slipped or something, and it hit in 6 places here and put gouges in the top of this one. I don't know if I rotate that. Can you see that? Maybe, maybe not. Anyways, they're there. Pretty decent aluminum. I can't bend them by hand, but I guess a good thump on a landing might bend them, but I don't know. I've read online where people are having trouble with the landing gear, bending, moving, breaking, actually breaking loose. We'll find out. I don't know. It's always nice to know what other people are having problems with, so you can kind of work with it and fix the problem before you get there. Axles, they come just like this with the nuts, a little sleeve here where it goes through, and you mount the wheel pant to the landing gear. Then the axle part, that's for mounting the wheel pants. This is kind of a backing plate on the inside. There's 2 of those. And those are, see, where did I put that? 12.7 ounces. I'm not sure what these are for. There's 4 screws. These are 30 millimeter by, I can't remember exactly, but they're 30 millimeters long. These are 20. I haven't matched them up inside the manual yet. Along with these washer type things. Standoffs, exactly what they're for, I don't know. And let's see. A couple of these little plastic things here, they're like little beauty rings. Let me get them out of the package. I don't know if you can see those or not. I'll try to hold them out. But what they're for is underside the wing where the cap screw is to lock down the wing. These are just kind of beauty rings that go up in there and clean up the hole. Okay, let's move on. Tail wheel, like I said before, good spring loading. Aluminum top half. Aluminum up here, and this block here is aluminum, but the yoke assembly, that's plastic. Be really cool if it was aluminum, but what can you expect though? And this little block here is just a beauty cover for the center of this. Servo tray, that's the throttle servo tray, I'm pretty sure. That just screws on the inside. There's 2 screws for that, little wood screws. This bag of hardware contains all of your push all your control horns. Let me open it up. And you have several bags of control horns. But they're the yoke style. The ball link goes in between, screws to the side, locks it down. And there's pull cable in this one with the control horn, yoke style of course. Some screw hardware. This probably goes inside the plane as far as these quick links go. And this, I believe this is the aileron control package. Aileron horns. It's kind of like on the P40 where they have a short control horn and mounts on the aileron, sticks up just about this far. And I'm not a big fan of that, but hey, it works, so that's the way it goes. Pull cable, and another bag with ball links and control horns. All right, takes care of that part. Wheels, these aren't bad. I think it's a foam on the inside with a sheen plastic on the outside, or rubber or something. Plastic center hubs. And there is a steel insert inside for the axle. That way it's not going to wear and tear much on the plastic, because it will if it was just bare plastic. And the wheels I did weigh. One of them weighs 4.9 ounces, the other one weighs 5 ounces. Velcro. The Velcro, I believe, just holds the tank down. I'm not really sure what else it'd be used for. These little scoops here are not really scoops. They're the exit guides for the lower aileron control coming out from the bottom of the wing. You cut these out, glue these on the bottom, covers up the hole. That's all those are. They weigh next to nothing. This pile right here is if you're going electric. All this is the electric mounting hardware stuff. Different spacers. Won't be using those, so it's not really going to concern me. I'll just put those back in the box. Okay, that's all of this. Let's get on with some plastic, the bigger plastic parts and the aluminum tubes and the CG holder, and that'll wrap it up. Back in a second. This is the last grouping of parts, so I'll go through this real quick. Over here, plastic engine. From what I understand, you cut out in between the cylinders for more air. I don't know if you need to cut anything more out besides this centerpiece. Has this fiber ring on the back. I think that's to back up this plate for, I guess, mounting purposes. I'm kind of guessing. I haven't read my manual yet. I should have done that before I even did this, but that's the way it goes. The wood blocks, they mount inside the cowling, I would imagine, to attach the fake engine, and this ring you cut out, and that goes over top of this as kind of a beauty ring type thing. The windscreens, not the best in the world. Looking through them, it's very distorted. Not bad for a sport model, you can't really complain too much. Not quite the quality I would get if I made my own out of plexiglass or something, but not bad. And once you cut those out and get ready to stick them on, or you've stuck them on, there's some trim tape to go around it to clean up the edges. Oh, let's go up here to the rods. These are the push rods for the elevators. And these rods, I don't know what they go to yet, but they have two little nuts on them. It looks like a 1.5 millimeter, something like that. Not sure what they go to yet. I'll find out as I go along. These are the aileron push rods that mount to the bottom aileron to the top aileron. Steel rod in the center, plastic on the outside. I'm going to get rid of the plastic on the outside. I'm going to order some K&S 2 tubing, airfoil tubing, and I'll glue those rods inside that airfoil tubing just to clean it up and make it look a little better. All right, this is the plastic part that goes on the fuselage. It's the fairing for the landing gear strut covers. They kind of slide in there. These are marked with a right and a left. There's a black outline that they drew on here for the cutout. So hopefully those are accurate. They look similar on both sides, so we'll see how that goes. These are the covers, the lower part of the strut cover that goes on to the wheel pant. Same basic thing, the black line around it for the cutout. Not much else to say about that. Instruction manual, I have opened it, but I haven't looked through it, haven't read through it. That's a lie. I did a little bit. I wanted to see how the tubing went on the upper wing, because I was going to slide them together, so I kind of looked that up. And they don't explain it, they don't tell you. So what I did is I just grabbed my center section piece. Oh, didn't throw that far enough out of the way, did I? And I slid the rods in and slid the outer panels in just to find out which tube goes where. So I found out these 4 are the upper wings. These tubes go on the upper wings. The long ones go in the front. And the short ones go in the back. And I found that out just by plugging in the wings and seeing if they fit. But when I plugged in the short one on this side, look at that, it goes all the way in. And once I pushed it all the way in, and I heard just like a little tick. And what happened was the stopper that's glued to the rib just fell off. It wasn't even glued. And now I got to figure out how to put that in. And I will show you that piece just so you know. I have it glued to a stick so I can reach up in there and kind of get it in the position, which is like a 45-degree angle, and put a bunch of 30-minute epoxy on there and kind of push it in and let it sit. But this is the stopper. And what that does is when the wing tube slides in, it hits this stopper like this, and that's mounted to a rib. And that's all that stops it. So any kind of undue pressure will probably break this. I mean, it's a very brittle piece of wood, but that's what it does. So now I got to figure out how to reach all the way inside here from the other side and stick this guy up against that rib to stop. Basically like this. It's going to be on the inside. And it goes on an angle like that. And I have to glue that in there somehow. That's going to be a trick, but I think I can do it. If not, I know a few other ways to take care of the problem, but I'm going to try to put this back in. Okay. Instruction manual. Like I said before, it's very vague. I haven't looked through it all to see how vague it really is, but as far as the wing tubes, it's trial and error. So if you use what I just showed you, then you'll be okay on the top wing. I haven't tried the bottom wing yet, but I'll get there soon. Okay, that's it for the parts. Overall, I like the plane. I'm not an ARF guy. Everybody knows I'm not an ARF guy, but I do like this particular aircraft. I always liked a Waco, and I wanted to build one, but I got so many projects. On the other bench behind the camera, I have a Pica Spitfire, the 89-inch wingspan. I still got the Sig Cougar that I just got sanded out, and it's ready for paint. I have a Byron's F86 over there that has to be done. So this is kind of like a filler to the planes I already have. It'll go nicely with my giant Aeromaster, even though this is bigger on the ground, sitting at the field. Yeah, it'll look pretty cool. But I'm not sure what engine I'm going to put in it. I have a DLE 55. I have assorted other 50s. I could put a ZDZ 60. Is it 65? I'm not even sure what it is anymore. I'm going to have to grab it and get it off the shelf. 1 second. Okay, it's a ZDZ 60 RV. It's been around for a while. Haven't used it in a long time. It's really heavy though. I don't think I'm going to be using that one. And compared to a DLE, this is a boat anchor. But I have seen on the web, on YouTube, people talking about this plane. They say they have balancing problems. They got to put nose weight in, so who knows? I could put, if the ZDZ balances it out, I might use it and just over prop it, slow it down a little bit. But I'd hate to use it on there because I got several airplanes I could put that one in anyway. But yeah, it's probably going to end up being a DLE or something equivalent. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. And if you get one, I think you'll like it. So far I do, and we'll see how it goes. The maiden flight will be in the spring because it's turning winter, and outside it's pretty cold and it's raining. You go out there and you get wet and you freeze. It's just Michigan weather. So until the next time, have a good one.